The NFC East has had a strange offseason, and that's being nice. The Giants parted ways with 3 of their best players, including a certain mercurial star wide receiver, and opted to stick with Eli Manning at quarterback. The Cowboys have remained strangely silent, while the Redskins overpaid for a safety and settled on an average quarterback to replace the injured Alex Smith. For the Eagles, it's been much of the same. Plenty of low-cost moves for proven veterans that don't impact their compensatory formula. Which moves were the best? The worst? Here's a look at the 17 significant moves made by NFC East teams this offseason, including re-signings, ranked from best to worst. NFL free agency. After Eagles signed Vinny Curry, 3 things they should do next. On the D-line, re-sign Timmy Jernigan. The Philadelphia Eagles signed defensive end Vinny Curry and next should consider re-signing Timmy Jernigan. 1. Giants trade to Olivier Vernon for Kevin Zeidler. Browns, yes, we're splitting up this and the Odell Beckham trade because they started out as 2 transactions before the 2 teams eventually combined them. This part of the combined deal was a rare deft one from general manager Dave Gettleman. Vernon is a talented pass rusher, though somewhat overpaid, and the Giants' need on the offensive line outweighed its need on defense, especially if Eli Manning is staying at quarterback. Point 2. Eagles trade for DeSean Jackson. Buccaneers. Jackson is 32, but the Eagles' biggest defensive need was either deep threat or running back, and he remains one of the NFL's best deep threats. He led the league in yards per catch in 2018, and the Eagles only had to give up a 6th-round pick and still got a 2020 7th-round pick in return. 3. Eagles signed Malik Jackson. 2 years ago, Jackson was a Pro Bowler and one of the NFL's best interior pass rushers. In a rough year for the Jaguars, Jackson fell back a bit, but he's still a massive upgrade next to Fletcher Cox over the likes of Haloti Ngata and Timmy Jernigan, and should have a much easier time rushing the passer playing next to Cox. Point 4. Giants signed Marcus Golden. This was a smart, low-cost signing by the Giants, who needed to add a pass rusher to replace Vernon. Golden's best NFL seasons in Arizona came while playing for New York defensive coordinator James Bedger. Point 5. Eagles re-signed Brandon Graham. This was a somewhat surprising move for the Eagles considering Graham's expected cost and his age, turning 31 in April, but the Eagles managed to agree to a reasonable 3-year contract before free agency, which portended another move on this list we're not quite as high on. Point 6. Cowboys signed Randall Cobb. Cobb is clearly on the downswing of his career, but he's a cost-effective and decent enough replacement for Cole Beasley, who was overpaid by the Buffalo Bills. Point 7. Redskins trade for QB Case Keenum. Broncos. If the Redskins' only move at quarterback this offseason is to trade for Keenum, this looks much worse. But as a sort of veteran stopgap for a potential rookie, this was a smart low-cost option that probably made more sense than overpaying for someone like Nick Foles or Teddy Bridgewater. 8. Eagles signed Vinny Curry. Curry was hampered by injuries last season in Tampa Bay, which led to his release, but just 2 years ago he had one of the best seasons of his career with the Eagles. As a rotational defensive end at a low cost, he's a bargain. Point 9. Redskins re-sign RB Adrian Peterson. Peterson is 34, but showed he still has plenty left in the tank last season. He's fine as part of a running back rotation with Darius Geis and Chris Thompson. Point 10. Eagles re-sign OT Jason Peters. Peters is 37 and struggles to both stay healthy and finish games at this stage of his career, but the reality was the Eagles weren't going to find a better left tackle on the open market for 2019. This doesn't look great if they don't make a move in April to draft the team's left tackle of the future. Point 11. Redskins sign Landon Collins. This is graded somewhat harshly because of the size of Collins' contract. That is 6 years for $84 million, a massive overpay especially in a deep free agent class for safeties. The Redskins deserve some credit for adding top-notch talent, but not quite at that price point. Point 12. Giants signed DT Olsen Pierre. Like Golden, Pierre's best season was when Becher was his defensive coordinator. He's a low-cost option who should help as a rotational defensive tackle. 13 Cowboys signed DT Kerry Hyder. Hyder only played 7 games last season but did just get 8 sacks 2 years. It's a low-risk, high-reward type signing. 0.14. Giants sign Antoine Bethea. He's the third former Cardinals defensive player to sign with the Giants. He's 34 and on the downswing, though he did get 121 tackles last season in Arizona. 0.15. Giants sign W.R. Golden Tate, especially coming on the heels of the Beckham trade. Are the Giants rebuilding or not, Dave? This was a strange signing. Tate is a fine, productive, other than for the Eagles, wide receiver, but he's also turning 31 in August and the Giants signed him to a significant $37.5 million contract over 4 years. He also is primarily a slot receiver, which already is Sterling Shepard's position. 0.16. Eagles traded Michael Bennett to the Patriots. If the Eagles were going to release Bennett anyway, a real possibility, this trade doesn't look as bad. The Eagles essentially regained the 5th-round pick, albeit in 2020, they lost by trading for Bennett last year, and got 9 sacks out of the deal. On the other hand, Bennett was one of the NFL's best pass rushers last season and a legitimate force for the defense in the second half of the year. They really couldn't work something out, or at least get more in a trade. 17. Giants trade W.R. Odell Beckham to the Cleveland Browns. Any way you slice it, this was a bad deal. The Giants just signed Beckham to a lucrative extension a year ago and Gettleman has preached how he hadn't signed Beckham to trade him. He lied. He traded Beckham, incurred a $16 million cap hit by doing so. Sure, he got a first-round pick, a third-round pick, plus safety Jabril Peppers, in return. But it wasn't even the Browns' best third-round pick, and Peppers wasn't particularly productive in Cleveland. It was a baffling decision, and the worst one in a strange offseason for the NFC East. Zach Rosenblatt may be reached at zrosenblatt@newadvancemedia.com. Follow him on Twitter at ZachBlatt. Find NJ.com on Facebook.